Hey world, today we're venturing into the final prompt from the Middle Grounds episode Liberal Gays versus Conservative Gays, where they discuss the challenges of finding monogamous relationships within the gay community. We've got three liberals, Barrett, Tishan, and Kai, who agree with the statement that monogamous relationships are difficult to find in the gay community. I think it's important to say that this doesn't necessarily mean that they think that polygamy or polyamory is something bad. On the other side, we have two conservative gay guys. Will they argue that the modern world is akin to Sodom and Gomorrah and that monogamous relationships are the only way to live? Stay tuned to find out. Oh, hi, by the way, Samantha here. Pronouns are bon self. Not really. Before we start, I really want to emphasize that the topics of monogamous relationships and the broader discussion of monogamy versus polygamy are a subject I'm really passionate about. I am thrilled that we're delving into these topics today. Let's begin by exploring Tishan's viewpoint on the subject.
I think it's difficult in today's day and age and like just in general, like to find a monogamous relationship. You know, I started with experience at an earlier age. So I'm 22 now. I lost my virginity at 16. Me being 22, I know from all the experience with different partners and just having, you know, I guess my fun, I am looking for something with substance.
So girl, initially I thought like, oh, this doesn't really apply to me. He's probably too young to relate. However, it didn't take me long to realize that I was exactly the same when I was his age. And I guess many people in their early 20s are in a similar boat. You know, there haven't been too many heartbreaks. I'm not downplaying anyone's experiences if you're in your early 20s, but anyhow, when you're young, there's more space, energy, psychological and emotional capacity and resources available for this beautiful thing called love. Or as Tishan puts it, something with substance. I believe he means something meaningful. And I also noticed from my experience that as I grew older, I got cold-hearted and stale-hard. I became more emotionally reserved as I aged. I don't fall in love these days too much, and I feel perfectly alright.
I'm at the age gap where a lot of, you know, people around my age, they want to have their fun. You know, they probably just lost their virginity at 18, 19. Some people are losing their virginity now, which is fine, you know what I mean? So they want to experience life or hookup culture. And then there are some people who that's just what they want to do for the rest of their life. They don't want to be tied down. So it makes it very difficult because a lot of times even meeting someone, it's one of those things where they want their cake and eat it too, like, you know?
You know, my hookup journeys began at the age of 18, and those encounters were pretty terrible. No emotions, no connections, not even with people of my age. They were older. Many times I regretted going to those hookups. I used to believe that there had to be someone out there for me. In a nutshell, I was yearning for love. And that's what many young folks did back then, before Grindr and Hornet rolled up to the party of our lives uninvited but totally stylish. And back then, I never even considered the idea of polyamory or polygamy. Oh, wait a minute, is Tishan actually talking about polyamory or polygamy? Like, on one hand, he says something like, I'm not interested in hookups anymore, which I guess implies that polygamy is not the thing for him. But on the other hand, he's mixing it all up when he starts saying that he wants something meaningful, not just having fun. But he's not specifying it has to be just with one person. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna call him. I'm joking, Samantha lost his number.
A lot of gay men, and again, this is straight people do this too, but we're just talking about gay people that say they want monogamy, but they don't actually want it. They just want it for the person they're with, and that's a little shade to my ex, but anyways. No.
Well, Samantha, for one, would never play these games with her partner. Putting on a monogamy mask just to get closer to a partner. I mean, in this day and age, it's so much easier from my perspective to have an upfront and honest discussion about what you both want right from the get-go.
We are very focused on our pleasure a lot in our community, and we haven't really learned, not necessarily to repress it, because you shouldn't repress sexual desire.
So he gets it, right? So he agrees that repressing your sexual desire is not the right thing to do. Then he somehow goes with open relationships is bad. He's not saying it explicitly, but still.
But we haven't really learned how to control it in situations that are particularly hard to do. Like if you're around somebody that you're extremely sexually attracted to, if you haven't, you know, taken the time to examine yourself and make sure your actions correlate with the way you want to live, then you're going to cheat, or you're going to need an open relationship because you just have no capability of doing anything otherwise.
I want to revisit a point I've made before in this video. You know, I can relate to what Clarkson is saying here because I used to think the same way back in my 20s. Well, I'm not sure if Clarkson is in his 20s, but when it comes to monogamy and the idea of dating or hooking up with someone else while in a relationship, I shared similar beliefs. I couldn't wrap my head around how it was possible to be with someone and simultaneously have something else going on with someone else. It just didn't have sense to me. In fact, the first time someone told me, hey, cheating isn't the ultimate sin, I was genuinely shocked. I was like, what on earth are you talking about? How can cheating not be a terrible thing? How can open relationship be okay? Then it was explained to me that these unconventional arrangements can actually help people in various ways. You know, they provide space, a release valve, and allow people to let off steam when needed. And you know what? It really can work. For instance, in straight relationships, you often see situations where one partner has a more traditional perspective, while the other is like, you know, more open-minded and desires a bit of adventure on the side. And for this latter, it's like a way to relax and unwind at times, while the former may cling to the notion of forever and only this person. And my point here is that the cheater allows themselves some flexibility, while the latter might be deceiving themselves. Moreover, it can be incredibly challenging for someone who's cheated to have a calm and open conversation with their partner about the possibility of an open relationship, particularly when their partner holds very rigid and inflexible beliefs.
I think we're still healing from the generational trauma that came from the AIDS epidemic. You know, I think a lot of people are still trying to figure out how to heal from that, and I do think that we have a big problem with substance abuse, sex addiction, and I think that that needs to be addressed as a community. And I think as we start to look at like why we are leaning into these things that are less productive for us on our like regular lives, we can start to realize maybe like this is part of that.
I couldn't agree more. I really like the fact that Bharat is taking a holistic approach to addressing these issues. You know, the holistic approach is often the key to finding effective solutions to many complex issues.
I think whether it's, you know, monogamous or non-monogamous, it's a couple's choice to figure out what works best for them. I think we've become very married to the idea of marriage in general, where people are willing to get divorced and remarried and divorced and remarried, where it's like you're not really married to the person, you're married to the monogamy that comes with that marriage.
True that. Now compare that with a mere speech.
I hear a lot of gays complain about this, but then they're looking on Grindr for a long-term relationship. I don't know how you expect to do that, and who I have talked to, they're looking in the wrong places, it seems like.
Oh, a mere always divisive reason, huh?
It seems like there's a need to like have a monogamous relationship, and I think that's good because I have one.
Oh, this is where the debates get extremely interesting, especially when Clarkson interrupts Zane. Wait for it.
Since divorce rates are so high, I wonder if it would be best if people did share each other, not like all the time, but it's like you date someone, maybe you try something else with someone else. I'm not saying that's the right way. I just don't know because some monogamous relationships work and some don't. I don't know.
So Zane was sharing a valuable perspective when this Clarkson interrupted him with his love-involved sacrifice.
Some monogamous relationships work and some don't. I don't know.
Zane started with acknowledging the goodness of monogamous relationships based on his own experience. Simultaneously, he recognized that for some people, it might be the right time to explore alternatives. What I also noticed is that he often expressed uncertainty and an open-minded approach. He always says things like, I don't know, I'm not sure, which is great, yeah. It's like saying, this is in my opinion, you know. He ultimately offered a brilliant conclusion. It's really good when you manage to have your monogamous relationship. Just like in the fairy tale, no one's trying to steal this idea from traditionalists. In a nutshell, I guess Zane's idea is what works for one doesn't work for all. And here's where Clarkson comes to play, seemingly perturbed by Zane's openness to both monogamy and polygamy. Clarkson delves into topics like sacrifice and genuine love.
I think love involves sacrifice, and I think sacrificing your desire for somebody else for the person you're with is ultimately what makes your love grow deeper. It's very hard for me to see an open relationship and think you're not willing to just commit to one person and just not be with somebody else.
But is that a Christian idea? Is that a heteronormative idea?
This is just my favorite. I'd say this particular scene right here is my absolute favorite. I don't know, that was just so funny. Bharat is absolutely hilarious, and I'm 100% on the same page with him.
But is that a Christian idea? Is that a heteronormative idea?
No, it's just an idea
scientific
of me.
idea, because as a student of science, the most stable bond is a pair bond, period.
Sure. But a pair bond for how long?
It can be forever. I mean, my pair bond, I'm expecting it to be forever.
Well, girl, I will probably need your help to get it. Mario says he's a student of science, but it's quite challenging to get what he refers to within science. Certain species in biology, well, these bonds can have various degrees of stability depending on the species. Black-backed jackals are one of very few monogamous mammals. This pair uses teamwork to hunt down prey, and they will stay together until one of the two dies. So girl, very few, and actually the stability of pair bonding can vary significantly across species, and it's not universally the most stable bond in all cases. Alright, maybe he meant chemistry or physics by saying the most stable bond, or even probability theory. Imagine this, you've picked up 2 perfectly ripe apples from the store and tucked them in your fridge. You're not sure when you'll have a craving, maybe today or a few days down the line. Now with these 2 apples, chances are good that you'll savor them both before they start to spoil. But here's the twist, suppose you brought home 3 or 4 or even 10 apples instead of 2. The likelihood of at least one going bad before you take a bite goes way up. But unlike apples, humans in relationships can go through stress, experience moments of boredom, and in general navigate a wide range of emotions and challenges from being together for extended periods. So it's not just about stability, but also about understanding and adaptability.
We did not arrive at monogamy through evolution. It's a combination of some things, and there are benefits to pairing, but there are plenty of mammals in the wild that don't do lifelong pairing. One of the leading drivers of divorce is cheating, and it seems to me taking that off the table is a great way to prevent that one pitfall. Some of the happiest same-sex couples I know are in open relationships, and they make all kinds of other sacrifices for each other, making space for each other in other ways.
That's some deep, soulful stuff.
So let's not forget that relationships are as unique as a unicorn in a tutu. What works for one doesn't work for all. Some want monogamy, some want an open relationship, and some just want to focus on their avocado toast making skills. So whether you're team monogamy, team open, or team avocado toast, remember it's all about communication, love, and a dash of humor. And let's keep the love alive. If you love Samantha's content, you can show your support through Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon. But for those experiencing an epic showdown with the world's most perplexing economic challenges, we've got you covered. Don't break the bank, just break that like button and hit subscribe to show me some love. Okay girl, I'm really grateful if you're still here. Thank you so much for watching my video. I'll be back with more content soon. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to hit the thumbs up button, like this is really important to me. I guess that's it for today. Cheers.